It is important to be in touch with your roots. When you grow up without the socially constructed idea of an idealistic family, you can lose sight of the value of the concept. This documentary is to tell the story of my father's life and to recall the person he was. My name is Hannah Arp. I'm 19 years old, and I lost my father over 10 years ago. When I was only 8, my father was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And now it's just me and my mom. He died 6 short days later, and this unexpected death changed not only the dynamic of my family, but the rest of my life. I did not get to have a deep connection with him, and I lost the innocence from my age. From time to time, it seems that I forget more about him, and all I have left is memories.
What is this? It's a big castle, huh? Stay on the Hudson River? This used to be old George Washington's fort, turned into a bathroom. Under construction. You want to take a walk out on the pier?
My mother always tells me that my birth was what my father considered the most important day of his life, that I was the most valuable thing to him. And I'm constantly told that I'm a replica of my father, and I wish I was able to see it for myself. If I had a penny for every time I was told how proud he would be of me, I would be rich. But I would trade in every cent for a second with him.
There's coffee right there. You want to go on your bike? Go ahead. Yeah, we got open TV. Mine. Are you and her? That's mine. It's got my name on it.
No, it doesn't. You sit here with it. That's mine. No. That's bad.
So this is where my journey started. 7 Lakes Drive. Bear Mountain was our family spot getaway. It seemed that every weekend was spent up in the cold, with packed lunches, firewood, and the essentials to make s'mores. I believe that this spot reflects who my father was, a down-to-earth, simple human, with the desire to be surrounded by people he loved. The only person I think he remotely loved more than me was my mother. After being together for 15 years, I don't think there's a better person who knows him at his best and at his worst than her.
Christine Arp, and I'm Dean's wife. Your dad was loving, kind, compassionate, fun. I recall one time we had a snowstorm. You were very sick. And one of your favorite things to do was to go outside and build snowmen in the snow with Daddy and play and have snowball fights. And you were just so sad that you were sick and you couldn't go outside. So your father brought the snow inside. He filled up a big bucket with snow, dumped it on the living room floor, and you guys built some snowmen, and he lined them up on the outside windowsill so that you could look at them and see them. I'd say he was compassionate, and he saw people as people, not for their shortcomings or things that debilitated them. I recall he was working in Hackensack, and he would talk about a homeless man that he would drive past on his way to work. And one day it intrigued him to just bring him a coffee and stop and talk to him. He wanted to know why he was homeless, how he became homeless, and just find out more about this man. And he brought him home to our house and cooked him dinner and invited him to stay for the night so he'd have somewhere warm to sleep. They stayed up all night, and Your father found out that he had artistic abilities. Your father loved to draw, and so did this man. They stayed up drawing all night and exchanging ideas on artwork. And when the morning came, your father went in his closet and packed him clothes. Socks, clothes, warm clothes, a quilt, some toiletries for him to take on the road, a washcloth, and some soap and toothpaste and things. And I think it really bothered him to actually have to set him back outside in the cold because it was winter. Your father was a perfectionist. He had to have things done his way. He'd do it himself. On every job, he took pride in everything he built, everything he made, from start to finish. And he did not leave a job until it was perfected to be exactly how he envisioned it. And the way I see you is exactly the same. He would befriend everybody. I think, I know I wasn't, at this time I didn't know your father, but I always heard this story of how there was a girl at a bar in a wheelchair, and your father wanted her to have fun too, so he asked if she would dance with him. And he spun her around in the wheelchair so she could have a good time too. So I think he saw everybody as being people and not having disabilities, or he just had a genuine heart, a love of life, a love of everyone.
Looking for answers, I hoped to learn more about who my father was growing up as a child. Therefore, I went to visit my grandfather.
My name is Rudy, last name is Arp, and I am the father. It's my son, number 2.
I'm Pat Arp, and I'm his stepmother. I don't like the word step, so instead of him saying stepmother, he always called me Aunt Pat. And that was fine with me. That was our loving word between us.
Very sensitive, very hard worker.
He was so loving.
Yeah, loving guy.
Always hugs, always kisses. Yeah. There wasn't anybody that didn't like Dean.
I don't know whether you really want to report this. I think maybe our divorce really had a big impact on it. And I had no control of it. I was just coming out of the house with nothing. A bag, garbage bag full of clothes, and that's what I went with. So I think that had a lot to do.
Because you came home and found out you were divorced, and that's what she said, I divorced your father today.
And I don't know really what happened. Dean would come with me when it was on my weekend to have him. Dean would come with me, and Scott sometimes would back off. He didn't want to go, and I could never figure out what really happened there. But I imagine I know where it came from. So, but I think that was a big part of how he was.
From what I have been told, my dad did not have an easy life, but it did not define his character.
My name is Bob Berry. Dean Arp was my best friend. There was a point in time where I didn't have jobs, and I'm a cook by trade, but you know, I didn't have a job. And he's a carpenter, he's a builder. I mean, he builds houses and CVS drugstores in Aruba, and he's a construction, he builds things. He gets architects to do blueprints, and he reads the blueprints and he builds these things. And he would hire me and say, come on Bob, and we'd get in a truck and we'd go somewhere, and I would do little things like carry lumber, carry cinder blocks, maybe, you know, move asphalt up a driveway, but I was not performing as well as a qualified construction worker, but yet he would pay me because I was his friend and he was loyal to me, and he'd just pay me, and he would just hand me money at the end of the day and say thank you very much. And you know, he would always fit me in there. I mean, there was one big project he had where he built a 2-car garage with an office on top, a built-in swimming pool, a patio, a driveway. This job took like a couple of months, and all I was doing was minimal work. And then finally, at the end of the job, there wasn't much that an unskilled laborer could do. So Dean opened the grill, got a bunch of hamburgers and hot dogs, and here I am cooking for the family that he's building this house for, and this swimming pool and driveway and garage and all this stuff he's building with like certified, what do you call them guys, carpenters? He's building with carpenters, and I'm making hamburgers and hot dogs for everybody, and he's paying me to do this because Dean was loyal to the end. He knew I didn't have a job. He knew Bob could use the money, so he got me to work. Oh, if I wanted to talk about one thing besides loyalty that you have, that your father has, it would be charisma. Dean was just charismatic. I can't explain it. He was like, people wanted to be around him because he was fun. People wanted to be around him because he was fair. People wanted to be around him because he was honest. He'd do anything for you.
Hearing these stories about my father pushes me to want to make strong impacts on other individuals. I believe I will have this opportunity with teaching. A successful teacher is someone who impacts a student more than academically instructing them, but connecting with them on a closer level. This is when I know that I will actually make my father proud.